Welcome to my new series, Pure Fishing. No gimmicks or challenges, just 16 minutes of pure fishing where I try to catch some big fish and share tips along the way. Let's get right into it. See what happens with this little swim bait. Oh my gosh, we're on. First cast, little guy. I knew they were gonna be aggressive today. I just knew it. It's perfect conditions right now. And it is just the tiny little fish. Come on, buddy. Now he's digging. Get out of there. Get up here, buddy. All right, it's just a little guy, but it's a start. I knew. We're coming out here, first kind of cool day that we've had in a few weeks. We've got some overcast conditions, not too hot out. It is the perfect kind of setting here to find some aggressive fish in a small secluded pond like this. And of course, number one on the day on a little paddle tail. Let's get him back in the water. All right, guys, number one, just the little chunky guy. Get him back. And there he goes. Well, I knew coming out here today that it could be something special. First cast, what I'm using here is just a little 3.3-inch paddle tail swim bait paired up with a 1/4 ounce jig head. And I'm just gonna be casting this up against some of these fallen trees, some of these grass lines, and there's some big fish in this pond. I've also got tied up. I'll give you a little sneak peek of what we might be throwing a little later today. And that's just this Mike Buka bull shad, an absolute giant killer at a pond like this. So good start to the day. Let's get back in there, get a little pattern here, and then I think we could catch a few big ones today. So let's get right back in there and also more fish. Good freaking start though. Let's get it. I haven't been to this pond in, I'd say, about a month. So water is not quite as clear as I was hoping. It's usually got a hit right there. Usually a super clear water pond, but I'm throwing a kind of a natural shad color. It's gonna stand out perfectly in this water clarity. Oh my gosh, just got hit on 2 casts in a row. There's fish, there's one. Oh my gosh, he's so tangled up. Come on, get under there. It's not a big fish. It is not a big fish. He's stuck, there he is. All right, number 2, maybe a little bit bigger than that first one. Absolutely cranked it. Another healthy fish came right up shallow near some of these fallen trees, some of the structure. Got caught underneath one of the branches. Luckily it wasn't too big, I could horse him out. Ooh, what is happening with that fish? The tail is a little bit messed up, maybe a little scoliosis going on with that guy, but clearly he can still eat. Healthy fish, let's get him back. All right, number 2 on the day, nothing too special, but just a little solid one. I don't know how well you can see the tail, but a little deformed there. And there he goes. Little deformed fish, but he can obviously still thrive. He was keying in on, once again, that little 3.3-inch swim bait presentation, so let's keep fishing this for a little bit. And once again, we'll move up to some bigger baits, some different baits, maybe get on some bigger fish. But I still have high hopes that this one can catch one of these elusive pond giants. So let's get right back in there and get on another one. Oh my gosh, ate it right at the freaking bank. And of course, I've reeled up way too much. Oh, and there he goes. There are tons of little bass up shallow. It's just trying to weed through them and find one of these bigger fish that are still going to be aggressive. There's fish. Seems a little better. Still a little guy. I'll take it. We're just making our way around this pond, and there seems to be a ton of just these small little aggressive fish. Let's get on the bank. A ton of these small little aggressive bass that are just keying in on Swimbait imitations. All right, number trace on the day. Let's just throw this guy into some of that deeper water. There he goes. Right back in there. Pretty solid little fish, nothing crazy. Just the little aggressive guys absolutely killing the Swimbait. That's kind of what you expect. I'm just using this 3.3-inch bait as just a kind of a search bait. It's a little paddle tail Swimbait. You're gonna get a lot of follows, a lot of bites if they're aggressive enough. And I have caught big fish on this, so don't count it out, but let's keep fishing and hopefully find some bigger fish in a little bit here. I think I'm starting to figure out kind of where these fish are at, so let's get back in there. All of the fish are just kind of on that grass line drop-off area. The drop-off's a little closer to the bank on the other side. That's why they were all right next to the bank. And it's a little further from the bank on this side, so that's why that guy was a little further from the bank. Yep, another fish. Oh my gosh. I mean, oh, is he back? Nah, he's right here. Can we grab him? Nah, go back in there, buddy. There he goes. I mean, they're so freaking aggressive. It's kind of ridiculous how how instant this bite is. Now that I've kind of keyed it in and figured out a little bit of what they're doing, it is, I think that was next cast after that last fish, so. Oh, that was a fish. I thought that was stuck on a log. It was just a small guy. There's I'm kind of on like a brush pile here, made by a little beaver. And of course I cast up on it. I thought it was stuck. A little bit of tension. Yep, and there he is again. And of course my line starts running in the opposite direction. And that is so freaking cool. Watch that dude come up and just absolutely crank the bait. All right, stop it, buddy. Stop it. Look at that, perfect hook right in the top of the mouth. This could very well be the same fish that ate it on the last cast. Another tiny little guy, I'll take it. Shoot. And there he goes. Let's get back in there. Solid start though. That was a bass. That was actually a bass sitting in 1 inch of water. There's a fish. There's a fish. Another little guy. They're just tiny. They pull hard. They're fun, kind of hard fighting fish for their size. But they are just tiny ones. And I'm talking absolute micros. Oh, came off. Barely hooked. Maybe the smallest one of the bunch. We are going downhill. I think it's about time we will run around this pond, get to my other stuff, because it is getting kind of ridiculous with the size here. But all right, little mini guy. I know it looks kind of harsh me throwing him back that far, but the first couple feet is just mud. It is pretty much just mud. 1/2 inch of water with mud. And of course, if you throw them in wrong, if you drop them in there, they could get stuck. So it does look a little harsh, but they're little guys. The impact is not too much on them. We're putting the bait on the bait holder. We're putting our foot down here. And first of all, we need to figure out how to get through this absolute jungle right here. Maybe we'll go around. And second of all, we're gonna get that big swim bait that I showed you guys in the beginning, and we're not playing around anymore. We're gonna find an absolute giant. All right, so it is in fact time for the big guns. Let's take some casts. This thing looks so good in the water. One of my favorite lures of all time for bass fishing is the Mike Bucca baby bull shad. And this is the bait that they're based off of. This is the bull shad, the full-sized version, and of course the white shad color. So hopefully it can do some more. It's actually my first time throwing it. I've thrown the baby bull shad, as I said, so much. One of my favorite baits. I have tons of those. This is a little bit expensive, and I'm hoping I don't snag this up. We're throwing it on a 50-pound braid. Maybe a little excessive, but this pond water is relatively dirty, and there are so many snags that I don't wanna take the chance that I could lose this thing. Let's get in there and get on one. Oh my gosh, what the heck? maybe I set the hook a little excessively but something did just come up to it. I'm pretty sure it was another small bass, maybe like a 1-pounder. I'm telling you, they are that aggressive in this pond. Just spent many long, excruciating minutes fishing with that swim bait. To no avail. Got one bite from a decent little bass, probably like a pound. It was nothing crazy, just another dank. There's a fish. There we go. Little guy, another little one. On the spinnerbait, second cast. Maybe a little bit better. As you can tell, we are winding down on the day in terms of how much light we have. Come on, get up here, buddy. Okay, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe a little bit bigger, and that's not saying much because we've been cursed with the tiny bass here today. They're all super healthy and aggressive fish. I fished that big glide bait swim bait, that hard swim bait for a while. I fished a weightless Texas rig, a little weightless Texas rig Senko for a while, and decided to switch up to another moving bait, a little spinner bait. And of course, that is what? Second cast in there with it? We've got a fish. Let's get him back in the water. Maybe we can put together a little last minute pattern before the sun completely goes down. All right, hold this guy up into the light. I'm not sure how well you guys can even see that with these low light conditions, but there he goes. Right back in there. Decided, hey, the moving bite was working earlier today. Let's just switch it up slightly from just a pure swim bait, paddle tail swim bait, to a little spinner bait right here. I've actually got that swim bait on the end. Probably should cut a little bit off. It might be hanging over a little too much there, but just a little kind of mismatched color spinner bait, which is one of my favorite things to do. We've got a natural bluegill colored skirt with a shad white trailer on the back of it. Like I said, I should probably cut that down a little bit, help my hookup ratio a little bit more, but if they're biting moving baits, I'm gonna stay out here until that bite really starts to die down. No promises, but let's get back in there. This is exactly how you want to end off a subpar day of fishing. Just got back, caught like 6 dinky bass, and now we are almost completely dark outside, and we are trekking through some thick brush. We're almost to the road now. It's days like today where you really gotta think of the good times and not think about the times like today where you walk 15 to 20 minutes in the dark after catching nothing of substance, at least.